Yo. Yeah, I'm going to do the hand clap myself because y'all know what time it is. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Berean Talk. I am your host, Christian Mosley, and welcome back. So happy to be with you guys once again. Listen, you can see from the background, you can see from the mic, you can see from the crisp imaging on your phone, on your TV, on your iPad, on your laptop, or whatever you watching. You know where I'm at. Man, shout out to Deep Freeze Production and the OG Vic Frost in the building. You feel me? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Out here in these education and revolutionary streets. You feel me? Yes, sir. So listen. Well, I got one for y'all today. Y'all know when I get like this. Yeah. Out here rubbing my hands with no shape up. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, man. So this episode is going to be very interesting because it's kind of it's a bit of a follow-up from a previous episode that we did already. So if you haven't checked it out already, go check it out. It was the episode we did on Black wealth, right? The wealth in the ADOS community. If you haven't seen it, go check it out because it'll kind of give you some context to what we're talking about today. As you can see, today's title is a little bit provocative, just a little bit provocative, because today's title is called Empowerment Porn. What's that about? Yeah, we're talking about being obsessed with an image of power, but possessing none. Let it sizzle in your spirit. Yeah. We got to talk about this because there's a few different aspects to this because you know how we get down on Berean Talk. There's a spiritual aspect to this. There is a real life application to this that's also very real, and dare I even say a socioeconomic, even political aspect to what I'm going to be talking about today. Now, when I say empowerment porn, what I mean by that is what we've often seen as portrayed as Black excellence or spiritual excellence or whatever that might be. And oftentimes we call things those things not because that's what it is, because we don't know how to assess it. We don't know how to sometimes assess excellence. We don't know how to assess real power. We just think that, Negroes in a room talking loud, those are the revolutionaries. No, you a Negro that talks loud. Yeah, you think because your pastor be pounding the pulpit mad hard that that's a powerful anointed man of God. No, he's not. His wife don't like him, and neither do his kids. So let's I don't know if I should have said that. Hey, it might be true for somebody. Listen, the reason I'm saying this though is not only just an assessment of what things that I've seen, but also things that I've even noticed in my own life. Now, I wanna take y'all back a little bit. I want to take y'all back a little bit because my first exposure to empowerment porn, right? Of seeing an image of what was supposedly power and influence, but really possessing nothing tangible, either for the group or for the supposed group that they seem to be a part of, right? Let me take y'all back 17 years ago. It's November 2008. It's the United States of America, Fayetteville, North Carolina. I'm a young, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed 8-year-old that is starting to learn about the world around me, right? You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, I'm in at that point, I'm in 3rd grade. And because of the robust homeschool education that I was receiving, shout out to the Porterfield School, shout out to Ma Dukes, you know what I'm saying? I was learning some things at an early age that I didn't realize wasn't normal because I was just learning about the world around me. So check this out. It's 2008. For those of y'all that remember, the first Black president is being elected. Now, as an 8-year-old, I don't really understand the significance of this because at this exact same time, I'm also learning about slavery and Jim Crow for like the first time. He probably shouldn't have, but my dad had me and my brother watch Roots. Now, I'm not saying I shouldn't have watched it, right? I just shouldn't have watched it at 8. Okay? Y'all wondering why I'm so militant now? It's because I watched that man get his name changed against his will. Before I knew how to drive, okay? I've been learning. I've been concerned about my people. This is not my fault, okay? This is just the mantle that God put on me and the burden that I got. And yeah, it started at an early age. I can admit that. So back to the subject though. So it's 2008, and I remember my parents. We went out to go vote, right? So I'm learning about the Electoral College. Shout out to Schoolhouse Rock. As I'm watching Schoolhouse Rock and learn about all the different things and who the president is. I'm learning about the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch, and who's got the powers to do what, and all of this stuff. Now, mind you, my parents are not the average black parents, so to speak. Because although we were a bit informed, because my parents could only inform an 8 and 7-year-old, but with so much information, we're learning that, it's time to vote for the president. So we go vote. And I remember that prior to this, a lot of the kids that I was around, especially kids from my community, my lineage, everybody's like, oh, Obama. That's what we doing. Obama, that's what we rocking with. And I remember my parents just, saying like, hey, we vote for who has the right policies for us. And at the time I was just like, okay, hey, that makes sense. And then little time goes by, right? So we go to vote. I ain't vote, but you know what I'm saying. We went to go vote. And we get back to the house, and, time is passing by, and it gets real late. And eventually, real late at night, I can't remember what time it was, it is announced on national TV that Barack Hussein Obama is the projected president-elect of the United States of America. And I remember I went into my parents' room, they got the TV on, and it's Obama and Michelle on the stage with their girls, and they waving, and his people going crazy. And I remember I look at my parents, and they looking at the TV, and they're crying. I don't know what's going on. They're not boo-hoo crying, but you can tell something very significant just happened, and I don't really understand the gravity of it, or so I thought. And the next morning, my mother explains to my brother and I, she says, hey, first black president of the United States was just elected. Okay, cool. Yeah, all right. And then my mother goes and does probably one of the coldest things, one of the most informative things that a parent could do, which is tell the truth. My mother decides she's going to teach me and my brother at 8 and 7 years old. She gets a whiteboard and a dry erase marker. I'll never forget it. We were sitting in our little living room area, about to do our lesson for the day. She writes on this little board. And on the board, she writes, black faces in high spaces. I go, what? And she goes, boys, I'm about to teach y'all about black faces in high spaces. What that mean? That means that it is not acceptable to just get somebody with your melanin or even somebody with your lineage in a high office. They need to advocate for you. They need to stand up for your community. They need to have your best interests in mind. And they need to remember that you are their constituent. They work for you. And then she started to break down that Barack Obama don't have nothing for us. Now, it's 2025. It's a lot of people that's getting woke to that right now. It's a whole lot of people that's, going back, looking at the footage and being like, it was 8 years of benign neglect from the first black president. I said that. And I have receipts. But the reason I bring that up is because for that time, right? You got to remember, that's a very impressionable time, even for me. Obama was president for me from the ages of 8 to 16. That's a whole lot going on. And during that time, it was always shown and said that, oh, you can be anything you want to be. You can do all that you can do. You could be the president of the United States. You could be all you know how it goes. All the things that you tell your kid, you could be anything. You could do anything. But the context isn't really given. And I was raised not just with wanting to occupy high spaces, but if I ever was to, my obligation isn't to occupy the space, it's to advocate in that space. And unfortunately, we've allowed this idea to permeate throughout our culture, in American culture, in the Black culture, even in American Christian culture, right? Westernized Christianity. I'm not necessarily, when you hear me talk about Christianity or American Christianity, I'm not necessarily talking about the body of Christ specifically. That is worldwide. And we look like everybody. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an institution that has a vested interest in not being 100% forthright, right? And not being 100% adherent to what's written down in the book, right? Another problem with that too, with this empowerment porn. You know what also stems from that, or one of the biggest problems that we have too? Hip hop culture has contributed a lot to this. Now, I'm not saying I'm against rap and artistry and all that. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about what was put in front of us as, and I got to give credit where it's due. Shout out to attorney Antonio Moore, who has this term that he uses, which I think is brilliant, called the Decadent Veil. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is a veil that is used to mask the failure in our communities by constantly putting in front of you people that are supposedly powerful or successful that, number one, may not even be that to begin with. But number two, even if they are, I'm going to take the top 5%, 1% of Black America and show that to the whole world and show that to the whole country and say them Negroes is fine. There's a reason you see LeBron James all the time. There's a reason Obama was shown the way he was, not just because he was the president. I'm talking about to us. Us. There's a reason he was shown to us all the time the way that he was. There's a reason even now all of these artists are all of the jewelry, all of the gaudiness, all the cars and the houses and all of that. There's a reason that's being pushed in front of you all the time. There's a vested interest in making a wealthless and powerless almost group of people feel as if there's nothing wrong with you, when in fact, there's something very wrong, something horribly wrong. And as even as a believer, right? Even as a follower of Christ, there is a version of this too. There's a version of this where we look at things from the outside. Kind of reminds me of scripture, right? Man looks at the outside, God looks at the heart. And we look at people that, pray real powerfully in public. Maybe they're posting little intimate moments with God. Now, I'm not saying, I gotta be careful. Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm not saying if the Lord shares something with you and has you want to share with other people to encourage them or admonish them or whatever, that it's not or cannot be used to edify the body. But there's certain times where it's just like, you know what? That wasn't for everybody. You could have kept that to yourself. You don't have to use the gifts that God gave you to uplift yourself for your own agenda. Like, you could have kept that to yourself. You don't have to set up. Why do you have your camera set up in your prayer closet? Why do you have to have I get nervous sometimes going to churches because it'd be like 4 or 5 photographers in there. I'm trying to worship. I'm trying to fellowship. I'm not trying to have the spiritual shade room in my face. Oh, look at how many people we delivered. What? What are you doing? Why are you taking these intimate moments and using them for advertisements? Because that's what it is. Because if it didn't garner attention, if you didn't get to use these little aesthetic moments and say that, oh, the Lord showed himself today and oh, it was so powerful and oh, was it powerful or was it emotional? Was it powerful or was the music lit? Was it powerful or were the lights on point? We say it was. But then when we look at the lives of those people as they leave those buildings and as they leave those assemblies, it doesn't necessarily reflect that power that we think that we're talking about. Possessing a form of godliness and denying the power thereof is going to do a whole lot more damage than you just being quiet and doing what you got to do. Now, I've had to learn my own lessons with this. I'll give you a prime example, right? This was probably like, when I tell you this is the first serious lesson I learned with, like, do not use God to uplift yourself. There's a lot of story time today. All right, so I'm gonna take you back. So it's 2010. I am it's me and my little brother. We go to this little church summer camp with our church and a bunch of other churches that were, you know, in this organization that, you know, our family was with for a little while. And we go to this summer camp, and it's got to be easily, I want to say it's about between 300-400 kids. It's a lot. And then, of course, you got your camp counselors and the administrators and all of that. So it's quite a few people there. Now, when you're 10 years old, 400 people might as well be 4,000 people because it's a lot of people. So I remember before the camp starts, it's the beginning of the week. We were out there for a week, or not even a whole week. It's like 5 days. But we're out there. And before the day conclude, or the opening remarks are made and all of that, there's a prayer that, you know, they want somebody to make for, you know, the week and kind of just open it up and have a good time. Now, at this time, I don't even know why I did it, because this wasn't a thing that I did. But I remember they wanted one of the students to come up and pray. Everybody's raising their hand. There's a whole bunch of people raising their hands and jumping up and down. Oh, I want to pray. And I just happened to raise my hand. They picked me for some reason. So I go up there and I pray. Now, mind you, let me preface it with this. I learned how to specifically, and there's no shade of my pops, love you. But because of the amount of time that I spent with my mother, with being homeschooled and just being around her all the time, that woman taught me how to pray, right? And when somebody at that time who's in their like 30s is the only point of reference for what you know how to pray and what to say, you sound a little weird as an 8-year-old talking about certain things, right? But I just prayed how I knew how to pray. And on top of that, I was sincere at the time. So I get up in front of, it's like 300-400 people. And I prayed. And because of the way that I prayed and the vocabulary that I used, something that I didn't realize, something really dangerous was about to happen. After I finished praying, the people didn't say amen and then we leave. I got a standing ovation. Everybody stood up, clapping and cheering and jeering. And oh my goodness, he's going to be a pastor. And oh my goodness, he got to be a minister's kid. I wasn't. I was just raised in the word. Oh my goodness, who is your parents? Oh my goodness, you the thing, you were whatever. And as a 10-year-old that hasn't learned that they have a problem with their ego, I didn't know that something was being unlocked in me that I was going to have to learn how to get put in check. And it fed something in me that I can say now was really ugly, But when you're a child, unfortunately, we as parents or adults, there are really ugly things, really dangerous things that we can see in our kids that we trivialize as being cute because they're young. But when that stuff becomes grown, it's not funny anymore. So that was the first day. Then the second day came around. Who wants to pray? Now I'm raising my hand because, I got some clout. So I prayed. Then another opportunity came to pray later in the week. And then I prayed. Another opportunity. You see what's happening? It's a performance now. And the only person who could see through it, who saw through it? Not all the other people, not one of the adults, my little brother. Shout out to Chandler. If y'all ever watched the show from like the OG days, Buddy behind the camera, my ride or die, you know what I'm saying? That's my that dude knows me better than almost like outside of my wife. That dude probably knows me better than anybody. And he was like, at one point, I don't remember what point in the week it was. He was like, bro, what are you doing? There's people coming up to me asking me to just pray for them so they can see what I sound like if I sound like you. This is real life. I'm getting somewhere with this. We got back home, and I remember, now mind you, what was very interesting was me and my brother, we was the only homeschool kids in the church that we was in here in the city. We were the only ones. We were always getting made fun of. We was getting bullied. All types of wild stuff was being said. But when you perform well and represent the spiritual set well, everybody listen, they love it. They love it. And unfortunately, when you're in an environment where they love you for your accomplishments, but they hate you for your convictions, that's a weird dichotomy to live with. And I remember we got home, and I don't even know if this girl knew what she was saying. It had to be the Lord because it was true. We were talking about the events that happened at camp. This is weeks later. And somebody brought up me praying and how everybody responded and everything else. And I was feeling myself. I was feeling pretty great. Feeling myself like I lost my keys. Just, yeah, I'm like that. And just out of nowhere, this girl just said, just out of nowhere, had to be the Lord because it was a still small voice. You were so prideful. Record scratch. Huh? She didn't even repeat herself, but it stuck with me. It stuck with me for a very long time. I'm 25. I still remember it. And I learned something from that. All those people thought that they were seeing something powerful and didn't realize that they was looking at something carnal that had no power, that had no real sincerity. Now, the first time it happened, that was real. That was me being a 10-year-old that was just praying to God and saying the stuff that was on my heart and doing what I was raised to do. The rest of that foolishness was a performance. And the people that was around me, they ate that up. Somebody with some discernment was able to say, this ain't what everybody thinks it is. And it was a valuable lesson for me. And I'm hoping it's a lesson that maybe you can even learn today too, about the dangers of this just fake empowerment, whether it's on a spiritual level, on a political level. And then let's talk about this, even on a relationship level. Now, I'm not somebody that gets into talking about relationships all the time, but I just got some observations. We do this with our relationships. With our constantly posting these intimate moments with our significant others, talking about these weird, intimate details, and you be all over the internet. And meanwhile, oftentimes what I've seen is that you are compensating for something. There's no reason that all these people, these strangers, why are you posting love letters to your spouse on the internet? Just give it to them. I'm not saying that it's inappropriate or that it's wrong to honor somebody in your family, to honor your significant other, to honor your spouse in public. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is there's a thing that gets associated with that. There's a strange phenomenon that happens. I can't tell you how many times, and y'all have seen it. You could probably drop names right now. You probably got some in your head. How many relationship gurus and couples and quote unquote power couples were out there? People was taking their advice and making life decisions and everything else. Now they not together no more. You done found out there was abuse. You done found out they wasn't even taking that stuff seriously. You done found out they kids don't respect them because there's hypocrisy all in the house. But you out here and just, yeah, I'm trying to be like. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we? I know why we do it, because we want to feel comfortable rather than abiding in the truth. But when we do this to ourselves, it's going to cause more problems than good. It always does. Now, and what's funny is too, and this is just my personal experience, because I see things, right? People get spiritual. People get, into the relationship thing. Even sometimes y'all be doing it with business. Yeah, I'm a boss. I'm a boss. You know what I'm saying? I'm an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? I get to the bread around here. Now, you're not gonna tell nobody that, you don't make more than 50,000. But hey, them Cartier glasses is clean though. The car is clean, right? You pulled up to an apartment in a Lambo. Okay. And what's funny is, like, some of y'all, I know you in real life. I'm not going to tell you business. I see you. Oh, there's a few of us. We see you. Now, I'm not going to be the person that it far be it for me to shame somebody else and put their business out there in the streets, right? Just don't put me in a situation where I have to tell the truth, though, because I will. I ain't lying for nobody. I'm not doing that. I'm not. And I'd like to hope that none of y'all would either, for me either, because it's not a good look. And then what it does is you don't operate in the realm of reality when you constantly live in a fantasy of empowerment. Let me give you an example. This is real life. Y'all can go check this out. I might even put the figure up. You know how many times I'll look at my page and this is a really good example of this. It's a beautiful, beautiful black family. Brand new keys in their hand. Ring-a-ling-a-ling. They got the soul sign up. It's a night, you know what I'm saying? They in the suburbs. They doing it big. 2024 Hyundai in the driveway. You know what I'm saying? What you don't know is that between Q4, quarter four, right? Fiscal year, quarter four of 2022 to fiscal year, quarter four of 2024, Black Americans, ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, while you're holding up your picture of your new house, and I'm not saying that, you're not doing well for yourself or anything like that. I just want to put this into perspective. We'll use that picture and say that we going somewhere in life, but between 2022 and 2024, our community lost $380 billion with a B in real estate. Let me say it again. In 2 years, we lost $380 billion with a B in real estate. But explain to me, please explain to me how your corner classes are going to help close the racial wealth gap. Okay, I'm going to do it. If I told you, hey man, hold on. I gotta get some participation. OG, hold on. I gotta ask you something. Nah, you a business owner, right? You an entrepreneur. You gonna get this. If I told you, I said, listen, I got an investment opportunity for you. Now, in recent years, it's lost a little bit of money, just a little bit. But would you be interested? No, sir. Okay. Well, all investments, yeah, it ain't got ups and downs. It done lost about, we lost about 380. And you might say 380 what? Is it 1,000? And I say, no, sir. You might ask me again. Is it millions? I say, no. And then you say, if it's 380 billion, who in the world is influencing innocent bystanders into engaging in this type of skullduggery? And you know what happens? Here comes Jay Morrison in a rented Rolls Royce saying, I'll do it. I'll show y'all how to get No. Stop thinking that life is Rick Ross lyrics. It's not. Stop trying to live out Jay-Z lyrics in real life. That dude invested in ankle bracelets. Oh, you didn't know? You didn't know? Hove invested in ankle monitors. He's eating off of your kids going to prison and living out his music in real life. But please tell me more about how you want your family and your marriage to emulate Jay-Z and Beyonce. But they eating off the failure of your babies, your community. They invest in things that are going to eat you alive for generations. But you calling him deep because Jay-Z said, dark nigga, light nigga, rich nigga, poor nigga. Still nigga. Right? That was deep. But we're not looking at what's happening behind the scenes, right? We're not looking at Jay-Z going to the NFL and undermining Colin Kaepernick's protest by saying, oh, no, we passed the kneeling part. Let's just get the tappity tap tap. Let's get that going for the halftime show. That's empowerment. That's empowerment. Not your community getting economically integrated into the country that we built. Not your schools getting better. Not the criminal justice system being reformed. Not that. But seeing them dance on a stage and yell blackity black, black, black. That's what makes you feel good about yourself. There should not be Barack Obama had the opportunity when he came into office. There's a whole recession going on, right? He has the opportunity to bail out and to help those that are homeowners, victims of predatory lending. And what does he do? He bails out the banks. But y'all love that Key and Peele sketch because that's what makes you feel good. The Black Lives Matter movement, the movement to, now I'm not necessarily even talking about the organization, but the movement, right? Where we got to address the abuses of the federal and the state and the local governments against our communities. That has to get started under a black president. And by the way, let me just say this. And I'm going to stand on this. And I think I've said this before in a different episode. Barack Obama was not an American descendant of slavery. If you don't know that, I feel bad for you, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Barack Obama was a white man with a Kenyan daddy. Did you know that Barack Obama See, you tell your kids that they can be all they can be, but you don't tell them the ingredients it takes to get there. Did you know that Barack Obama inherited $500,000 from his white grandmother that helped to fuel his political career? Oh, you didn't tell your kids to add that to the report, the book report, or the little presentation about Obama, huh? You telling your kids that they could be Jeff Bezos, that they could be Mark Zuckerberg. They had hundreds of thousands of dollars just injected into them and into their plans. But you are using Afterpay on your groceries and telling your children that they can be anything they want instead of telling them this is where we're at and we got to do something to fix this. But we're giving them aspiration because we like empowerment porn. And just like what pornography does, it's not a real representation of what a relationship between a man and a woman should look like. It's over-exaggerated and perverted. In the same way in our economics, in the same way that we look at relationships, y'all be looking at people that just be smiling on the internet all the time and want your life to reflect that and don't even know that they're in a living hell. You know how easy it is to trick y'all? Man, I've wanted to. I'm not. I've had, I told my wife, I wanted to like run an experiment of just like taking a couple different pictures that I've had where it looks like I'm living real good. And I just want to see what people think. There are pictures I could have put on the internet that y'all would have swore I was successful and had no idea that I was donating blood plasma. That's real talk. I'm not ashamed to say it. Some of y'all shouldn't be either, because if you told the truth, we would be in a lot better position. We're trying to act like we're okay, and you're not getting the assistance that you need. Let me tell you something else about. Tell you something else about this empowerment porn, right? Because when we do this, we also begin to put people in high spaces that don't have no business being there, and we give them attention that they do not deserve. And when we do these things, this is how we just want black excellence. We just want this. We just want that. This is how you end up with Diddy. There were Christian rappers, not the world, Christian rappers that was making correlations and parallels between success and black excellence and Diddy. Hold on. This dude was the face of black excellence. Now he on trial for being a monster. But that was the guy, right? That was the guy. Everybody wanted to be at the brunch, right? What would you prefer? $500,000 or you gonna go to the brunch? I'll take the $500,000 for 300, Alex. Are you crazy? You think stop thinking that a minstrel show is power. It's not. It's entertainment. People with real power are entertained by this foolishness. They don't see that as empowering. And it's even more entertaining to them because you think it is. This is how you end up with these pastors that have these quote unquote moral failings. Venerated in the community, venerated and be doing tours around the world and ministering to people and casting out demons. And meanwhile, they touching little kids. Meanwhile, they stealing. Meanwhile, they are exploiting and lying and abusing, not just other just people that are vulnerable, their own families. Other people in the ministry. But because they got clout with the president or because they got clout in your organization or your denomination, those are the folks that get your attention, right? This is how we end up with I can speak on this. I'm gonna speak on it. This is how you end up with the foolishness of a Dr. Umar Johnson. Oh, you watch this. Y'all gonna see it. We're gonna put the picture up. I'm gonna tell y'all a little story. So once upon a time. So I'm not doing this to slander anybody. I just like people, y'all just need to know the truth. Once upon a time, Dr. Umar came to Fayetteville, right? Now, up until this point, I knew who he was. I had actually started following his work, watched his lectures talking about, what was happening in the school system and what was happening with our black boys and all that stuff. And I 100% agreed. He was right. But it was just something didn't seem right. So he came to the Ville, came, for an event. And I noticed something that was real interesting. First thing was, we sit down in this auditorium. It's a whole bunch of people in there. Oddly enough, there was a lot of single mothers in there. That's not me trying to be insulting. It was like people I knew personally. It was like, there's a lot of single mothers in there with their kids, but a lot of single mothers. And I told my wife, we sat down in the room, and I'm like, something don't feel right. I can't put my finger on it. Something does not feel right. Dr. Umar does his thing, does all, his little antics and all that. He's basically a comedian. And then at the end of it, I'm in the process of still trying to find my footing politically, still trying to find ways that we can get work done in the city, engage in collective uplift for our people and our community, all that good stuff. And I wanted to talk to this man. Now, the picture that is probably on the screen that you can see now or in a minute is me talking to Dr. Umar Johnson, AKA King Kong Consciousness. Now, listen, if somebody tells you with a straight face, I'm sorry, y'all gotta give me a second. If somebody tells you with a straight face, I go by a black man, I go by King Kong Consciousness, you deserve everything that come with it. What is it with like us being comfortable with these like minstrel names? We got King Kong Consciousness, we got Glorilla, Mulatto, Lotto. Really? There was a point in time where that would have been like wildly inappropriate. Like the community would have been like, no, you not going out here representing us like this. But I digress. So I'm talking to King Kong Consciousness. And if you notice in the picture, this dude is not looking at me in my eyes. Now, I know I'm a little vertically challenged. I know that. I wasn't blessed in that way. It's a significant height difference. The problem is, something I was taught as a young man that I kept to this day, I don't respect no man that I'm talking to and you don't look me in my eyes. That's just a respect thing. And I'm trying to talk to him about trying to get some stuff done. I had questions and everything else. And he's just like looking up in the sky. Like just not looking at me, just looking up. And then he trying to, we take a little picture afterwards. And then he says, well, you seem like you're trying to get some stuff done. Here's my contact information. I tried to contact him. Never got back in touch with me. But what I did notice is, a lot of them single mothers got a whole lot of attention. A lot of push-up bras in the room. These observations. A lot of short shorts in the room. A lot of butter almond. A lot of pecan. A lot of hot fudge in the room. That's what he liked. These are not people that need to have places of honor in our community. This dude just came out and spoke against reparations and said that the current generation, this is his words, current generations of blacks doesn't deserve reparations because they wouldn't know what to do with it. Y'all don't find it interesting that the reason behind people saying stuff like that is rooted in myths founded in white supremacy, which says that you are a degenerate? Oh, but because he wearing the dashiki is cool. Never mind what the data says, right? Never mind what the wealth data says. So we shouldn't get reparations, but we're supposed to donate to help you build a school. With what money? I find that suspicious. We got to stop being obsessed with stuff that's not real. We got to stop being obsessed with things that are not beneficial and edifying for us. We got to stop with that. There's nothing wrong with just telling the truth. There's nothing wrong with, and I don't mean just telling the truth in the sense of, black power and all this other stuff. Tell the truth about the suffering that you have to endure. The reason you're not going to get taken seriously is because you try to act like everything's okay and it's not. Stop telling people you got a cold when you have cancer. Because that's what you want to do. Because if you say you have cancer, guess what you got to do? You got to act differently. You got to start taking stuff a whole lot more seriously, like your health, like maybe getting your affairs in order. I said this in an episode before. Black wealth is about to disappear by 2053. But you wouldn't know that because of Instagram and what's shown all over that. So cut the empowerment porn off, man. Look at real life. Look at your family. Look at your community. Understand this, 70% of ADOS families, if they lost their job right now, couldn't cover 3 months worth of expenses. Do you know what that means? We're in the age of tariffs. Everything going up. Everything is going up. If you got it, you'll be okay. And if you don't, good luck. That's where we're at right now. And I'm not interested in acting like we have power that we don't, that we have influence that we don't. So, and I hope y'all understand, I'm not using this as a time to slander anybody in particular. I'm sick of watching my people be led astray. I'm sick of watching my generation in particular being confused at the fact that in our real life, we got to drive Uber after the 40-hour work week. But then we want to pretend that the Uber is going to help you buy a house. Instead of pressuring the powers that be to create an environment for you locally, statewide, and federal, nationally, create an environment where we can thrive. And we're going to hold you accountable to whether you do that or not. That's what we need to see. That's what we need to see. We got to knock it off, man. We got to knock it off. Buy the truth and sell it not, is what the word says. Cherish it. Share it with others. That's what I try to do here on this platform. This is the little niche job that I have, is to share some of that truth that I have with others that may not have it. And to give a unique perspective to those, to encourage you and empower you to go out and do something. Don't be a keyboard warrior. And don't just be in the streets screaming. Get some work done. Ask some real questions. Challenge yourself. Read a book. But don't try to act like you something that you're not. Let's not do that. We don't have time for that. You feel me? I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. This is Christian Mosley signing out. Fight for your freedom or die talking. Pieces and blessings, man. I'm out.